But to your point, you're absolutely correct. Is that, well, let me get outside of the mother right now and let me hear my husband's heart, because you want that as well. You don't want us to just focus on your words. You want us to hear what you're really saying. The most important things we miss, we need to focus on that. I often look at the things that haven't been said, her body language, Nicole's eyes, even how she's moving in communication. And it lets me know what I'm missing.
See, I think you just actually shared the surprising thing that no one talks about. And I'm going to admit something. This is not going to surprise you, but it might surprise you as you're listening to me and Jason. So, as you know, Jason, my husband started a men's retreat called Soul Degree. And he leads them 3 or 4 times a year, takes 12 guys, ages 21 to 75, all different backgrounds in life. They spend 5 days off the grid practicing everything you're talking about: meditation, yoga, silent hikes, small group discussions about things that are happening in their life, hopes and dreams that they have, frustrations. And you come out feeling like you've reflected, reset, you've released and you've rested and you feel renewed. And Chris does not share anything confidential, but I've often asked him, what is the biggest takeaway? And he said that universally, that the men that he works with all say that they come last, that everybody's needs come before theirs. And I'm going to tell you something. When he first told me, I was like, that's complete BS. You guys are watching golf and you're watching the game and, you go to work, but then you come home, you do whatever you want. And that was me rejecting a truth. And when I stopped myself and just said, okay, well, let me just process this for a minute. Do I even know what Chris's needs are? Does he even know what they are? And it struck me because I'd love for you to turn to chapter 9 in your book, because you write about the exact same thing. It's on page 139. And I want you to read the first part of that so we can unpack this. And as you listen, you're either going to feel validated or I want you to have an open mind about the truth of this.
One of the most significant obstacles preventing men from breaking free from emotional incarceration and evolving into comprehensive men is the inclination to suffer alone in silence. This suffering persists because men often believe nobody cares.
See, I think that's probably the biggest problem. Do you think that's true?
Absolutely. It ties to that, we'll say, I'm alone. You're not alone.
Well, and I'll tell you something else. I'd say 95% of the men that either sign up for information about Soul Degree, which is Chris's retreats, and this is probably true of the work that you do and the seminars that you do, are women who are wanting the men in their life to really get some support. And the men aren't thinking they necessarily need it. And I believe that we have an epidemic. I see this with our son, who, I'm fine, I got it, would rather just soldier on than burden somebody else and not even sure what he needs. And so I would love to have you teach us, what the hell do we do? Because as I listen to you and I kind of think about, okay, I'm with you. And I see some of the mistakes that I make that are so subtle, but it's like death by 1,000 cuts that isolates somebody. How do you address anger in your son or your husband or your father or your brother? I mean, because if I bring it up and I'm like, dude, you seem angry. He's like, no, I'm not. So how, I'm not running a dojo in Detroit and getting people to, because you have this groundbreaking method that I would love to have you explain to the person listening. But then I want you to teach me, how do I do this? How do I reach my husband? How do I reach my son? How do I reach my brother? And I would love for you, Jason, to describe this groundbreaking method that you developed using martial arts and boxing
Mhm.
to help boys in particular process emotion. And then we're going to get into, but what do I do at home?
As men, we have to own what we're doing as unhealthy. Meaning, if we walk around with this looking like a superhero, we're going to keep being asked to do superhero things because superheroes don't sleep. They don't need a life. You don't need to go hang with your friends. We first have to remove the cape, leave it at the door, or better yet, put it in the trash and say, I'm a human being. I'm not to be treated like I don't need sleep. I'm impervious to emotional pain or anguish. And so as men, you have to first acknowledge that this life is not what I want.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I want you to give the man listening
Yes.
an assignment.
And so what to do, I would tell them, first acknowledge that you're worth more than what you can do. When you get there, and when I got there, I was able to say, I can't do it today. I'm sorry, you may be disappointed, Nicole, but I won't be able to paint the living room until next month. Sometimes the most responsible thing you can do, my brother, is to let things go undone so that you can get some rest, so that you can not only be present for your family, but to be present for yourself, to be able to look in the mirror and say, wow, I miss this side here. This is hurting me. This is my father neglecting me. I need to revisit this. Maybe I need to go see a therapist or a counselor, or better yet, I may need to go see my father, because the last thing I would want to happen is for him to transition out of this place with unresolved hurt, pain, and emotions, and maybe trauma. And so identify that you're worth more than what you can do. Also, your value resting actually is a confirmation that you're taking care of yourself. I don't say self-love, I say self-maintenance, because we as men understand what it means to maintain something. So please start maintaining yourself and practice saying no and not now. As hard as it can be as this superhero dad, superhero husband, saying no is actually saying yes to yourself. And you deserve to be treated as a human. You just now have to fight for that in a way where it doesn't condemn or hurt those that you love, but yet you make a stance in protecting where you're going.
I love that. And one of the things I want to highlight is that the first step to changing your life